question of for the teacher's role in terms of holding the space. So just want to address any questions on that level. The first job of the teacher is to have the idea that they as consciousness are embracing all of the space, and they are in charge of that space, and by doing that one can pick up any changes, any energies, but it's through that intent that the space is maintained. There are all of the spiritual tools, crystals, candles, music, etc., to support you in doing that. But you are, as the teacher, responsible for the quality of that space. There was one time when, and this kind of brings in a couple of things, Kevin and I were teaching together in America, and one of the participants was really struggling that morning. I'll say a little bit more later about what she was struggling about. And I could see that Kevin really, he wasn't really there, wasn't really engaging with what was going on, and I was, actually doing most of the teaching. And then he shared with me at lunchtime that he had, and this is reason that I didn't know, and I didn't really connect to it, and I was the person continuing teaching, that this person was having a real battle with an entity, and he was working for her and with her to clear that from that space. She brought it in with her. Well, it wasn't actually an entity. So it is, you are responsible for that space, and sometimes it can be hard work, especially, this is why it's so important to that first Friday evening and that first cleansing and attunement to clear the energy ready for the rest of the weekend with that group. I am doing the healing. When I say, I call in the most, I say, make this your affirmation, I dedicate this space to the highest healing possible for the person in front of me. What I am doing is, I am dedicating that space, and the person in front of me is the class. Extend your consciousness to embrace the person in front of me. The group is the person in front of me. So all healings are kind of double, because it's a healing coming from you as the teacher as well as the person. And that is what supports the couple who are doing the healing exchange in deepening the experience and facilitating it in some way. The image that comes to me is when you first do a parachute jump. A good way of doing it is a tandem. You haven't got all the skills, you haven't had a chance to practice, it's something new to you. So you do it as a tandem, and the other person is guiding the energy, supporting the process. That's what's meant by overlighting a situation, embracing it in your consciousness. And you're also receiving a healing. So as a teacher, you're usually doing three things at once. The angelic attunement, which is the next thing that we're going to do. We're going to do it to the master symbols, and it's the thing that completes the workshop. What I will be doing is I will have a book open, and I will be reading, and I'll be conscious in this room. I will be doing the meditation. I will be going up the vertical tube of light. I will be in the void. I will then go on the horizontal tube of light. I will also be holding the whole group in my consciousness and keeping the group together. So, but it demands, it's in a way it's easy. And in a way it's challenging, because one can end up, actually doing the meditation, feeling quite spacey at first, and then you get to read a bit and then you go off or whatever. So if you want to practice reading that and visualising that you're taking the group through it, then do feel free to do that. Or if there's a friend who's done Angelic Reiki, do a little bit of swap with them. And if you can't do that, and you really feel you need to practice, get someone who's sensitive and who is in the right place to actually support you. Okay. Anything else to be said that you want to ask about the teacher's role in terms of holding a space? As teachers, please be very clear and very professional. Do take deposits and all of the other things we talked about when we talked about professional practice. I've had quite a few experiences where one of the participants has resisted the energy and not really fully taken part. And one of the things that when you've actually got the manual open and you're reading it, you can see you can actually, you can feel the energy. You can also see who is actually in the meditation and who isn't, and who keeps opening their eyes and having a little look round, or who's daydreaming, and who is not actually participating, who's resisting on some level. And this particular person I'm thinking of, I was doing a 7-day, and they resisted all the attunements and didn't really take part at all. Really just, they'd come. It was somebody, actually, interestingly enough, who had persuaded Kevin to give him a free place. And then Kevin died and I ended up teaching this guy. And he just was just there to find out what was going on the first day and a half. And but then he surrendered, actually, and took part fully. If he hadn't have done that, I would have asked him to leave, and absolutely would not have got any certificate. Be clear. Don't think, oh, well, they might argue with me, or oh, they might be upset. Tough. And there was somebody who resisted the angelic attunement at one of the classes, and they didn't get the certificate. Please be very professional.
Do you then give them back their money?
No. Well, it depends. It really, really depends. If they've done the full workshop, that's what they chose to do, and they chose not to participate.
Yes.
But if I'm teaching a 7-day, and then after a day I feel it's not right for someone, and I ask them to actually leave the group, then yes, I would refund the money. But make your own decisions on that. Yeah. Now, what had happened with this person that Kevin was tussling with was something that can happen a lot. I won't actually tell that story. I'll tell a different story that illustrates it. And this is not a judgment. This is just a statement of how it is. So please hear it like that. There are many, particularly Usui, Reiki masters, who feel that have actually gone into, and this is just part of the path, have gone into spiritual ego and spiritual significance about being a Reiki master. I was talking to one Reiki master once. I was just at something else, and the person sat next to me had to introduce himself as a Reiki master. I said, oh, very nice. And then he continued to share with me what a burden it was, because he just felt totally responsible to wake up early every morning and send a distance healing to all of his students. Okay? Now, if the teacher goes into spiritual significance and goes into any ego identity with being a teacher, by definition they need students. And if they are attached to that, there is an energy tie, and they are taking your energy. And sometimes this can be very strong. And on a psychic level and an energy level, that teacher does not want that student to go to another teacher. And I often hear that people have been advised by their Reiki teacher not to come and do Angelic Reiki. You don't need it. Somebody actually had this particular scenario going on for them, and they, yes, I'm coming, no, I'm not, and they lived 2.5 hours drive from where the workshop was, back when we were in Yorkshire, and 2.5 hours before the workshop started, she, I am coming, and she came, and as we dedicated the space, she walked out.
Oops.
Because the master had actually come with her, and that's what Kevin was trying to clear with that other person that I mentioned at the beginning. Energetically, they're still trying to keep that, psychic ties, psychically holding, and that woman was in an absolute invitation of to be in her own power or not. And because that, again, that dedication, opening up of the space clears that space. But that, the one that I'm talking about with Kevin, that woman fought that personal battle of coming into her own power or being dragged by this psychically all morning, and he supported her in that fight. Very powerful stuff, and especially if somebody thinks they're doing the attunements. It does, and I'm not, let me just reiterate, I'm not saying this is by which means everyone, and I don't think it's as strong as it used to be, but there's somebody in England who actually their consultation diary was full, and his whole practice was about disconnecting psychic ties from Reiki masters.
Yeah, I can believe it.
Or healers, or Reiki healers.
It was more
No,
masters. It can happen with healers, yeah.
The healers, they become addicted to.
Yeah,
and
absolutely,
keep going there.
absolutely.
This is how it started with me.
Right, right.
30 days under a healer.
Right, right.
So I was like, it was like a drug for me, going every day. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
beautiful energy, but
Yeah, yeah.
she didn't set me free. I set myself free.
Right, yeah, yeah.
If you were giving someone some angelic Reiki and you sensed, a rip in the aura or an entity
Yes,
attachment,
yes.
and you notice that, are you allowed to intend that it be gone, or do you still just say if it's, God's will?
Really go with your feeling at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, and in all the examples I've experienced, the angels have already acted. So it might be a situation that actually doesn't arise.
Right, okay.
But if you are aware, and again, it really is about common sense in a way, and discernment. Sometimes there can be quite strong energies and entities and things like that, and part of, like, I know someone that has gone through a lot of work with very difficult dark entities, and what that has done, it has really sharpened her ability to deal with the situation, and she has, through her will, removed them from me.
Right.
So yes, it's a very subtle question, but just go with
Because that's not trying to manipulate
No, it
someone,
isn't.
it's trying to just
Yes,
help them
yes.
be what they should be.
Yes, but as I say, there can be a bigger picture, because I know of someone who was really tussled with that,
Yeah.
and the gift was that they are now brilliant at dealing with it for other people.
Okay.
So it was a learning situation for them. So just be very sensitive, but yeah, I can see where it would be appropriate sometimes.